Three, two, one, and we're live. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Village Made podcast. My name is Mavel Heimuli, and today I'm excited. Not only am I the host of this, but I have three other people that will be my co-hosts today. And so today we're trying something new with a panel podcast, and it's just a discussion. We'll just throw a few ideas out there, and we'll see what happens. And man, I'm just excited that I extended the invitation to some of my friends, and we'll go ahead and introduce them. But I just appreciate the time that they came out, and I guess they found some kind of value in what I'm doing, and they wanted to come out and do this. And so I guess just to begin, just go ahead and introduce yourselves, and then we'll just go around the room. We'll start with my right here.
How's it? I'm BJ Adolfo. Was born and raised in Hola, Hawaii. And now I came out to New Mexico to work in the oil field. And whenever I saw Mavel's podcast, I saw value in it because he was bringing value to all the people. Everybody's sharing stories about how they became what they became. And if people can listen to that and kind of follow in the footsteps, because now somebody's creating a path for them, kind of, so to speak. And so I think that helps out. I think that helps out everybody.
Thank you, BJ.
So my name is Alpha Vimahi, born and raised in Kahuku, reside here in Utah 10 years now. I do commercial concrete, and residentially I do basement remodels and concrete flat work.
Awesome. Thanks, Alpha.
My name is Joreen Kepa. I also go by Jing, Sweet Media by Jing. I'm originally from Molokai. Now reside here in Utah, just trying to heal the world one ripple at a time by spreading positive vibes.
Gee, all right. So tonight is just basically what you talked about, just good vibes, So we just throw out some topics, just have a discussion. And then with the different experiences that we have in our lives, we'll go ahead and see if we can expand on each other's experiences and each other's, whatever we have experienced in our lives. And so we'll go ahead and, I guess just to begin, we've all created some kind of business for ourselves. And I know that it's not easy to begin, especially, speaking for myself, it wasn't easy to begin this podcast and just taking the first steps. And so for each of you individually, I guess, whatever business or whatever venture that you're in, if you guys want to go ahead and talk about just getting started, I guess for me, the question is, or the idea, the thought behind this is, everyone sees the shine, but no one sees the grind. So the grind is this process of starting and then continuing on that path, like every day, just continuing the process and following that process. And then eventually, I'm nowhere near the end, or I'm nowhere near the shine, I haven't made it, nor am I near making it, but at some point I will, or at some point we all will, but just this process that we're all in, that just the process to begin, not only to begin, but also the process of just continuing. And so we'll just throw it out there with, whatever you guys' thoughts on just starting your own businesses and your own ventures.
I think I'll answer first since I'm the girl. By the way, I'm outnumbered here by Kahuku people, and I kind of get intimidated. I just see a sea of red. Is that what you call it?
No worries.
But I guess getting started, so the grind, I guess being consistent has been hard, especially it's mental health awareness month, and some days I just don't want to be positive, and so I try my best to stay at home so I don't ripple anybody else with my negative vibes. But we're all human. I think that's mentally it was challenging, and yeah, I think being consistent.
Just going off of something that you said, because you said you didn't want to leave your house so you don't affect other people's vibes. Mm-hmm. So how long did it take you to get into that mindset of not wanting to affect other people? Because I'm sure maybe in the beginning you're like, oh, I don't care, I'll just go out, you know what I mean? Or does that make sense, my question?
I don't think I realize that I was doing that. Some days you just don't want to be bothered, you know, or you just want alone time, I guess. But I now, like, from where I was to where I am now, I come up with a schedule, and like one day out of the week it's just me time, and it refuels you, you know.
Yeah.
So it's finding things that will help you become a better version of yourself, I guess, and that's what I've been doing. But
Dang, that's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. And you guys about starting?
So, you know, I've been running almost 2 years now. I've been running my business, but I think I started a long time ago. You know, when I was younger, I did. With everything I know now, I can just look back and see that, you know, building was something that I really loved to do. And, you know, when I was younger, used to build clubhouses and tree houses and do all these things. I had animals. I used to build chicken coops all the time, and I always went all in on it. And it was just something I appreciated, working from the ground up. And then once you see the final product, the finished product, you actually appreciate it. So I felt like I started my business a long time ago, but I was trying to live a different life. I was persuaded by the community, by, you know, other influences in my life, other people that, you know, took care of me. I wanted to do what they thought was best for me, but I just want to give a shout out to, you know, all you young kids. Kind of see what you have a knack for, what you like, what you appreciate, and go for it. You know, build something off of it, because I wish if I started a long time ago, who knows where I would have been now. But, you know, right now our feet is just now getting wet. So I don't know when I started, but with my business, I just want to give a big shout out to my crew. There's a lot of guys that get my business up and running. So everybody in my crew, Mason, Bati, Trey, Donovan, Philly, Hale, Nase, Vasa, you guys know who you are. You guys make my crew go, my business go, because you guys do the hard work. So I just want to, you know, give a shout out to you guys. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for riding with me.
But that's what's up, man. Like, so you remember where you came from. You know what I mean? You remember that process, and the whole trust thing, that stuff is real, man. You know, like, you trust your guys that they're gonna be there. You know what I mean? You can rely on them. That's family, you know, that whole trust thing. And that's kind of where I got started. You know what I mean? As far as like trust, man, everybody has a voice. Yeah. And I believe that you build that trust by sharing your voice with somebody else, your experiences with somebody else. And only if you're real. Yeah. Only when you're real, then can somebody really trust you. Because, man, right now there's so much superficial, so much. You know, you look on Facebook, you look at Instagram, and all these other platforms, and it's so superficial. But when you really trust somebody, you know them, yeah? And it's crazy because you can even go on these platforms and share yourself. But then it's kind of hard because you kind of be thinking about what everybody else can be thinking about too. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But I love that, man. The trust that you built with your family. Yeah, because that's family right there.
Yep.
That's what I'm trying to build with. I think if we can all build the trust with everybody, you know, back at home, you know, kind of like what Mavel is doing on the Village Mate podcast. Man, everybody that's coming on, they're building that trust, and we're all building each other up to come up.
Exactly.
You know?
100.
Yeah. And just the podcast that I did earlier, that's what we kind of mentioned in the podcast, and that we talked about earlier, is that, you know, everyone that building ourselves up, we're building not only our community, but our village. But at some point, it's our turn. You know, as Polynesians, it's our turn to like rise up, or it's our turn to be on the come up. And then it takes ourselves, and the stories of our own Polynesian people need to be told by ourselves. You know, and so that's kind of like where this is like our own stories as Polynesians, you know, being told by ourselves, instead of some Palangi in Hollywood, or, you know what I mean, somebody in some office building in New York, you know, trying to tell us how to like what our story is, or their interpretation of it. And so it's good that we have these voices, just like BJ said, we have these voices and these are our stories, and if it's told by ourselves and by us, then it's authentic to us, and so just talking about the different talents that we have, for us three at least. Sorry, Jing, Coca Red Raiders, but
it's all good. It's all good.
Do we die?
Just growing up.
We never win state champs, but it's all good.
You so far, you know what I mean?
Go for it. That's what I was
It's who you are on the inside.
That's what I wanted to speak on next, For us growing up, like football was the thing to do, or football, especially from our community. But just like Alpha kind of touched on, like we have talents way beyond or more than just our bodies, which is like football, or we're meant more. Our talents that we have, and Alpha mentioned that if if we started earlier, who knows where he would have been now, And so
No, so I watch everybody, you know what I mean? And as soon as I saw it, I was like, this stuff is so valuable. You know what I mean? Because now not only can you share your story and how you became who you are, because you never get that back at home. You know what I mean? It's different now. You know what I mean? Now we speaking how, And so like you guys coming out with your guys' stories and like all the other guys that he's interviewed, it's going to change a lot of things, I think, especially for our people. You know what I mean? Because now they actually have mentors, who actually are like them, come from the same place they come from. You know what I mean? And they can relate so much to that now he's just like me. I can make it,
Yeah, and that's cool that you mentioned, for the youth or for the young kids coming up, they have people to look up to or, and so that's kind of what we're doing. But going off of what you're doing with Ripples to Waves, just that whole positivity, that whole vibe that, man, it's easier or, it's not easy every day, like you said, to be positive, but, you got to do it,
Yeah, I think it's a retraining your brain, because like you guys said, I come from a similar village, I guess, where like people really don't speak life into the kids, and everything's done in school and you rely on just one teacher to speak life into them. I think now that we have different platforms, this is our turn, my whole goal is to be someone that I needed as a kid, and so this is it.
That's awesome.
So about those days that you have a hard time on, like you say you take one day out of the week to kind of, what does that day look like?
Just like self-reflecting. I write a lot, and so most of it is like.
Does writing help you out to get it all out?
Yeah, for sure. It's like a therapy, I guess. Instead of talking to someone, you just like ranting in a journal, and that's one thing that saved my life in high school was a composition book, marijuana, and my friends. Like so many times I've like, why is this happening to me? Like I should just be dead already, and the composition book has been a blessing in my life for sure.
Do you ever go back and kind of go over some?
Oh yeah, most of it is filled with like hatred to my mom. But now we laugh about it, Right. Like, Mom, remember you did this? Like, you never even told me you loved me. Like, what the hell? It's freaking weird. I had to go to my friend's house who were Mormon, just so happened. And like, their family had so much love, And I was like so jealous. But it's different, Our families are different. We show love in a different way.
Yeah. So, that's an amazing tool, like to go and write your journal and get it all out. And it was crazy because I was just thinking about the other day, I was watching a podcast and it was talking about affirmations, because we always look for love, outside, and we want to hear the love. But the affirmations thing is like you tell yourself inside the mirror, I love you. You're beautiful. You're strong. You're brave. And it seems funny. You know what I mean? It seems like crazy, man. You know what I mean? But that stuff is real.
Yeah.
And if you can understand the tool, well, now you can use the tool, But
you see working for everybody else too, you see like CEOs and stuff like doing the same thing. But I say like, just how we was talking about the scriptures or Bible, like people journaled back then. That's how we have those stories, right? So like with all of our hard times, like I can't wait to publish my Bible,
Dang, that's awesome. I know as Polynesians or as, whatever culture that we come from, Hawaiian, Tongan, Samoan, what are some things as Polynesians that we have to unlearn? I know Jean kind of mentioned or touched on it about finding love, or like at least saying love, like I love you, and that's something also for me, from at least my dad, we never heard it. I never heard I love you until, we were a lot older, but I don't know. Are there some other things you feel like as Polynesians we need to unlearn?
Oppressing ourselves. You know what I mean? Like so many times we're taught that any form of expression, if it's emotional, it's not something you should talk about. It's weakness.
To be strong.
We don't show
strong.
weakness. Come on.
Yeah, hold it in, Go cry in the shower or something. But
Rub dirt on it and then carry on.
yeah, we suppress ourselves. So when we go into the real world, we lack expression and we don't know how to express ourselves. So in the workforce, it's a sign of weakness to them that we don't know how to do that. So it's just a backwards thinking,
Well, it's funny, even like on the flip side of that. So I listen to different podcasts and whatnot, and I think, so whenever I worked, I tried to work as hard as I could, and then I would do other people's job too. You know what I mean? And when I was doing that, I didn't think anything of it. I thought I was like, proving myself. But when you have to prove yourself, that means somebody else is controlling you. You know what I mean? Because you're trying to do something for them so that they have some kind of recognition for you. And you're proving yourself for what? All you can do is be the best you. You know what I mean? And that's it. It's not for that guy or for the other guy. It's just for you. You know what I mean? And so, but we focus so much on top of the outward expressions, and that's instead of like ourselves,
But I think you hit it on the nail. You know what I mean? We're taught that confirmation can't come from ourselves. It has to come from someone else. So like we're constantly seeking that approval so that someone else can tell us we're doing good, when we should be proud of ourselves in whatever we do, and confirm within ourselves that we're doing what's best or our best at the task that we have at hand.
I think too, it also goes back to as a culture, like culturally, we're taught to be humble, right? And humble means you don't brag about yourself, you don't talk about yourself, you don't bring attention to yourself or your family.
You don't be proud of yourself.
Yeah, you don't be proud of yourself.
That's the one big one. Oh, don't be proud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't be prideful.
And it falls all under that, yeah.
They were nice. They were prideful. You know what I mean? You can't be prideful. You're proud.
Exactly. And so I feel like that, just growing up with that and being taught, or like that being enforced your whole life until you're 18, and then when you go out into the real world, when you try to get a job and you try to talk about yourself, I don't know how to talk about myself. But then you might be more qualified than another person, but that person knows how to talk about themselves, or they know how to express themselves, like Alpha was saying, And because of those things, you don't get the job, or they look over you, or you're passed over because he doesn't, they don't feel like you quite fit. Whereas maybe your experiences, you're more qualified. But I think that's, for me, maybe like culturally, we got to unlearn how to be more, and not in a boastful way, but just be more prideful in our work. And then just like you're talking about the validation, like you need to be validated in yourself.
Yeah, not only unlearning, but like we need to switch up the way we teach, because our form of teach is so vague. You know what I mean? Like just like BJ said, don't be prideful. But what we should do is we go into and find that line between arrogance and confidence and teach our kids, there's a line between those two, but you need to be confident, but not so much so that you're arrogant. You know what I mean? So like, we don't teach that. We just say, don't be prideful. So we take the whole nine and we don't accept any form of, hey, you're a beast. You're doing good. And like, nah, not me. You know what I mean? Like that, I think we need to teach better.
I agree.
Well, whenever you're being prideful, when you be prideful, you're being proud, it builds your confidence. Like you finish, like you were saying, you do a job and you took the job from start to finish and you came up with this product that was amazing, and you took pride in that. And so it builds your confidence. Oh, I just did that, and then the next one comes and you already have that confidence too on the next one, and even more so until now you're trying more bigger stuff. You know what I mean? So I understand, like but there is a line between arrogance and being prideful. You know what I mean? And we should be proud in what we do, you know? But where is that line though? You know what I mean? Like, how do you say, hey,
Yeah, we don't know because we weren't taught. You know what I mean?
hey, jump up and down only 10 times. You know what I mean? You know?
Yeah.
Like what is that line?
But I just kind of want to throw out there is like how we learn. I'm sure for, you know, for all of us, like my dad told us, okay, you go over there, you go put the sticks together, you burn the match and you throw it in and that's how you light the fire. And then that, you know, like you see your dad do it, but then he doesn't ever like tell you to do it, you know, but he's just like, hey, go start the fire. And so it's kind of like learn, you know, like you're watching, that's how you make the fire, you know? And if you mess up, you know, you're going to get hit. And you're like, Dad, why are you hitting me? You never taught me. Or, you know, you maybe he taught you, but he didn't like show you, you know, you're like, okay, go, you know, so there's different ways of, you know what I mean? That's kind of like, I don't know if that made sense, but you know what I mean? Like why are you hitting me? You didn't show me or you didn't teach me, you know? You're like, go to the back and go get the, like you were talking about your dad, you know, like, oh, go get but he knows exactly where it is or something, yeah. But he just wanted, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but his garage gets all kinds of stuff, man, all kinds of stuff.
But yeah, I think that's kind of like, that's how we were taught, you know? And so there's a better way, you know, that we need to learn, that there's a better way to teach. Yeah.
I think changing to being open to change. Like if things don't work out for you, like find something else, you know. Our I guess being Polynesian, we're taught to do stuff the way that our grandmas did it, our great grandmas did it. Like, no, there's 1,000 ways to clean a fish. If you do it this way, it's faster. Like, trust me. But I think if we're more open to that, we could succeed even faster.
It doesn't help that we're stubborn as a people, yeah? Would you agree? Or Polynesians?
I'm super stubborn. I'm not gonna blame my culture for that. I think that's just me, but it's all good. It's all good.
Statistics proven, though.
Statistics. Thanks, Jane.
Even stubbornness is like a good trait. You know what I mean? If it's stubborn in a like in your type of way, you know what I mean? You're stubborn that you can get the work done. You know, rather than stubborn like, oh, I don't like listen to what it is that you have to say. You know.
Or like in her, what Jing is talking about, like, oh, there's a different way to get it done faster, or, you know. So, yeah. That's funny.
Like, because times are always changing. And so if you're not staying with times, well, then you're getting left behind. And that's what I was thinking. Like when I listen to some of the podcasts, I mean, everybody's on social media. You imagine how many people are watching TV, you know? Or if they're watching TV, once it goes on to commercials, the first thing they're doing, they're looking at the phones. So that's why like commercials don't work as good anymore, you know? And that's why like people who are posting like on top of Facebook, that's why that stuff is going to be selling. You know what I mean? So as far as like marketing and whatnot, that's the way to go, you know?
You're right. We live in fast times, you know what I mean? We got to learn to adapt quick. And I think the biggest skill, this is in my opinion, I believe the biggest skill that we need to learn is how to problem solve. Because if you can learn how to problem solve, and it doesn't matter what field you're in, you're going to succeed. Because a lot of people, they got all the know-how on how to do something. They got the schooling behind them. They got the experience. But if you can't solve the problem at hand, then what
use does your education?
Yeah, what use does it have? You know what I mean? So like we need to be better at solving problems. And I learned that the hard way. And I learned that I can do more if I solve the problem, you know, rather than I can do more if I learn this specific skill and then I run with it. So I just, my opinion, if you want to succeed in this life, learn how to problem solve.
So whenever you have somebody solving a problem, for example, how would you go about it?
What do you mean?
Like, so whenever you're doing construction, and a problem comes up, what is your train of thought? Okay, how do you attack the problem?
Okay, so I'll put you in a scenario for myself. And this happened a couple of weeks ago. So we have mud coming. We had concrete. I'm talking about concrete, guys. We had mud scheduled 30 minutes apart, and we had 30 yards. And the first truck was 30 minutes late. So we had back-to-back trucks there. And so I knew already that it was going to take us the first truck was hot. It's going to take us a long time to lay it down, and then we're going to get backed up so much that the third truck we might lose it because you only have so much time on the third truck while it spins. So you had to think right in the moment, and keep in mind we're working at the spot. You got to think right in the moment, call dispatch, uphold that last truck, make sure that the mud doesn't get poured in, and that truck is on the way. And then you gotta rethink your tasks. We had our crew set up for the certain task. You gotta throw that all out the window, and then you gotta just move with it. So you know what? We had 2 guys here, 2 guys there. It's like, no, 1 guy here, everyone go, run the mud. You know what I mean? So like, there's certain things you gotta do because it's a different scenario every time. Everyone says they pour concrete or everyone says they frame or something, but every house is different. Every job is different, and you got to learn how to switch it up.
That's crazy because, I mean, you just kept going with it no matter what it threw at you.
No matter what.
How did you get to that point, like the point that you're at now? Because now, like with that, I think somebody who was just beginning, they wouldn't have enough confidence to be like, oh, you know what? Tell them hold up the mud. You know what I mean? Tell them keep you mixing. We're gonna take care of this, and then change the whole crew around so that you don't lose a truck.
Yeah.
And you don't lose that much money.
Yeah.
And so you change the whole crew around so everybody's doing different things. How long and what was the process for you to get to that point where you were just that confident to do those things?
I think it was experience, and a lot of it had to do with failure. We failed many times before. You see this coming. So you can anticipate it.
You lost trucks before too?
Before, you anticipate it, and so you try to switch it up. So with me, it was experience. But, if I had a better teacher, I could have never had that problem to begin with. You know what I mean? But there's so many different scenarios, not only with work, but in life. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, who can truly say that they're ready to be a parent? Yeah. I thought I was G. I was like, I'm gonna be the best dad this way. But once my son came, man, and he came fast. And when I was alone with him for the first time, I was like, man, I'm in over my head. I don't know what I'm doing, but shoot, he trusts me, so
let's ride.
Hey, he's still alive, so I think I did pretty good. But you know what I mean? Just in life, you got to learn how to problem solve, because when you move out of your parents' house and you have to fend for your own, you realize that, everything's on your back. And when everything's on your back and you can't go home crying to mom, you have to take it head on, and you got to be the one to make the decision. And if you're going to be the one to make the decision, learn to solve the problem.
Man, I just want to throw this out there. Maybe again, personally, maybe I don't want to blame it on culture, but maybe culturally as well. I like to blame a lot of just but
the village, right? We're made from the village.
Yeah. So I feel like growing up, a lot of decisions were made for me, because my parents and it's not, so, sorry, let me go back. Our parents did the best they could with what they know or what they knew. And so a lot of me growing up was a lot of choices were already made for me.
Yeah, they're great parents. They're great parents.
Because, they wanted the best. And so I feel like maybe that's why I didn't learn how to problem solve on my own until I went out to the real world. And so for the first 18 years of my life, everything was chosen for me. Oh, you're going to go piano lessons. You're going to go to church. There's no if, ands, or buts, you know what I mean? Like everything is exactly chosen for you. I don't know. Did that happen to you guys as well? Or do you feel like, you feel like you made your own choices? And then it wasn't until you left the house that you kind of okay, I got to make my own choices or, learn how to do that. But
yeah,
I'm not sure.
My parents chose a lot for me. My biological parents couldn't take care of me, so they chose to give me away. And then my parents that took care of me had no choice. So, I feel like a lot of it. But I also feel like life is by design, and so God already chose my plan way before then.
Facts. Big facts.
Yeah, man, that's beautiful that you mentioned that. And then the other thing I wanted to mention too was Mike Tyson. He said everyone has a plan until you get punched in the mouth, So You got to learn how to fail and then fail fast. Well, exactly what Alpha was talking about, you just, when you get punched in the mouth, you got to figure something else out, or you got to, come up with a new plan. And so just an experience that I had, well, I want to say like 2-3 weeks ago. So we recorded a podcast and it was about to come out, but somehow in the like shuffle of things, footage got deleted. And so I found out on Monday. So I usually drop my podcast on Tuesday, and then I got the call on Sunday that I don't, you know what I mean? Like there's no footage or something, it was lost. And so I had to figure something out,
Who got punched in the mouth?
I did, because I had a schedule I wanted to keep to, which was a Tuesday, and so for the first 10 episodes, everything went smoothly, and so I was like, dang, this is cool, like it's easy. But as soon as some adversity came up, I'm like, oh, I gotta figure something out because I still need to drop an episode. And so I didn't drop on Tuesday, but I posted on Tuesday that, hey, check me out at the end of the week. I apologize, I like try to be, sincere and like, sorry guys, stuff happens and I'm trying to figure this out, but at the end of the week, like tune in by the end of the week, I'll have something out for you, And so I recorded on Wednesday, or I found out on Sunday, or was it Sunday or Monday? And then Tuesday, I kind of had to like put a plan together. And then Wednesday I recorded and it came out on Thursday. You know what I mean? And so that was that episode of the Mother's Day episode with Val.
Well, and it turned out perfect.
That was a good one.
Yeah, so I just kind of...
Same thing he talks about, like, he didn't become a problem solver until he started failing, right? Yeah. I think of, like, playing sports, every time you win, like, practice on Mondays lax, Once you lose, you work twice as hard.
Exactly.
So, like, for me, I try and think that everything is a loss so that it makes you work even harder, It's always a student, always perfecting the craft.
I like that mindset. That's a cool mindset to have, It's, and we all can relate because we all played sports. Yeah. And you know how it was. We lost on Friday, Saturday morning. We were running 110s. Yeah.
It was funny because just recently have I come to that understanding, you know what I mean? As far as like failing to success. Yeah, because I didn't really understand, because we didn't accept failure back at home, Yeah. Hey, your parents, you don't accept failure, Mm-hmm. Failure means no good. You're gonna be on bum. Maybe go do this or go do that. You know what I mean? For the rest of your life.
Right.
Right. And so just recently was I introduced to that idea that failure is good. And so I started teaching my kids. Yeah. So to my kids, hey, if you fail, that means you tried, and if you keep on failing, that means you keep on trying, and if you keep on trying, you're only gonna get better. That's just the way it works. You know what I mean? So I tell them, man, it's okay. You fall down, that's good. I'm happy. You lose a game, that's okay. That means you was playing the game, And then, but just to keep it going. And I think like for us, for me, I like different speakers, so I take a lot of whatever from them, and that's I just regurgitate whatever they say, So like especially like David Goggins, he talks about like that whole mindset of you can fail, and when you get uncomfortable, that's what you got to do in order to grow. Yeah. Otherwise, if you just stay comfortable, you're not really growing. So you got to do the hard stuff. Yeah. And if you're not failing, then you're not doing something right. And so I've been failing quite a lot, but that just means you're on the right track. You know what I mean?
It's true.
So it's cool.
That's true.
Yeah.
Failure is part of life. I don't know. I don't want to say can't. It's not a good word.
It's not a good word. No,
but you really can't live this life without failing. You have to learn how to fail and accept it and learn from it. It's a defining moment in your life. But quitting is something that you cannot accept. You like BJ said, failing, I don't care how many times you fail. Fail again. But as long as you get back up and keep going, I think that's all it takes,
Yeah, and then kind of going back to like, it's just the reps, Like you keep failing, you just got to keep getting back at it, Eventually you're going to crack the code, or eventually you're going to come out on top.
Well, I mean, he used the analogy of lifting. I mean, in fact, that's perfect. Whenever you lift, in order to grow your muscles, you have to tear it. Yeah. So that's taking it to failure. Yeah. And then when it fails, then it can rebuild bigger. And then you can
You're
make it fail
stronger,
again.
yeah.
You get stronger. Same thing. You know what I mean? Just that same concept.
And then just that failing builds confidence. I mean, not that it builds confidence in failing, but it builds confidence that you can get back up. You know, that you can keep going back at it and then keep trying to solve that problem, you know?
Yeah, and it builds confidence that you did this, or you can do more. You know what I mean? Imagine like where you started, you know what I mean? And now you're hitting like 600 yards, bro. That's like,
No.
that's crazy, you know?
I got something to say before I forget.
What's up? Yeah. Good. Throw it out there, bro.
I got something to say before I forget. Even before failing, I think a lot of times our people or the community I grew up in, we're embarrassed. A lot of people don't even start, don't even try to do something because they're embarrassed what other people will think. You know what I mean? So they fail in their heads already because they didn't even try it. And I'm talking about myself as well. You know, like there's some things that I would think like, I want to do this. And then my very next question is, what would people think of me?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
how would they think I'm stupid? You know what I mean? Like, and where is that from? You know what I mean? How is that learned? How did I learn that?
Yeah. At what part was that instilled in us? You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know if you guys know me, but Mavell knows me. I don't really get embarrassed. You know what I mean? I do whatever I want to do when I want to do it. But I limit myself sometimes when I think about being embarrassed. And I don't know where that comes from.
Well, I think just not wanting to fail, you know, not wanting to fail our parents.
Yeah.
Because, man, imagine how much pride we take in the names that we're given. Because, bruh, so Adolfo, you know, my dad is a good guy. And so he has a reputation and a good name to uphold.
Big name.
And so then we got to match that. You know what I mean? And so, you don't want to fail at all, you know? And so you try to do this perfect and try to do that perfect. And if you can't do it perfect, you just try to stay away from it. You know what I mean? Because
It's better to stay
it's
away.
better stay away.
Ruin your name.
They're going to ruin that name. Like, look at this guy. You know what I mean?
True. That's true.
And so whenever we try and put ourselves out there, you know, a lot of everybody else to make everybody else feel better, they tear us down, you know?
Stop being embarrassed, guys.
For real.
It doesn't matter. Who cares what people think? You know what I mean? You want to do something, do it.
That's I mean, for someone with confidence like you, that's solid. But like for me, I started posting. So I just got back on Facebook, and when I started posting, I was like, oh, yeah, all these people like commented on my stuff.
Heck yeah.
And I was like, oh, now I got a reputation to uphold. And I just did one, and I was like in my head already, and I was like,
You gotta be perfect now.
I gotta be perfect now. You know what I mean? And that just, it's scary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All those crabs, they trying to pull you back into the bucket, you know? I think for me, like I've been pulled back in so many times that I'm trying to stay away. So I made a goal for like 3 years to not even visit the bucket. Just mentally, when I go home, the grind that we're on here, like mentally is so different, you know, like you want to keep going. But when you go and visit the bucket, then you hear all kinds of shit that they're talking about other people that you're like, damn, I wonder what they're talking about me. But then we're also in the circle before talking, so you know what's being said, you know? And I just think that, sometimes you just have to stay away for a little while until you get like super strong.
So I kind of know like the little backstory of that. Did you want to talk about that a little bit?
As far as crab in a bucket?
Yeah,
or
like going
3
home.
years? Oh yeah, so I made a goal to not go home for 3 years. Just like mentally, it's so tough. It's just like so tough, especially the journey that I'm on. I'm trying to be a better version of myself, and when I go back, they just remember who I am 10 years ago,
Who you were.
know, or who I was. Like it's just like being a crab in a bucket. And every time I'm like on a grind, boom, something happens, I have to go home, and then it takes me months long to try to get back to that mentality. It's just tough.
So I don't know if this is off topic or whatever. I was just thinking like a lot of times we go back to like, we revert, whenever we get back to like people that we used to kick back with, we revert back to like our old ways.
Yeah.
Just to like fit in and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we aren't who we were. You know what I mean? And I think that's the one thing that I was like, every time I heard Maveo ask the one question, hey, what do you think we should unlearn? That whole mindset of you gotta only be this where you're from. You cannot become better than that. You know what I mean? And then anytime you see like somebody like from back at home or you post something, they're always like, you know, oh no, well you were this person. You know, who is this guy? You know, you're this.
You.
Yeah. You know, like oh, you can't talk positive. You used to be negative. Well, who cares what I used to be? It's what I am now. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then where I'm going. So I'm just trying to be the best me. So does that mean I have to do what I used to do, or I have to act where I came from? You know, I don't know if that's confusing or whatnot. But
no, that's true.
That's true.
It's every day.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's just the process, yeah. Like what we talked about earlier, we make it messy, yeah. The process of failing, like you know, like it's a negative, you know, like but especially you know, like man, you suck at this, you know what I mean? Get out, or you know.
And everybody says that stuff so fast too, yeah. You dead, you know what I mean? Like that, man. You know? For real, man.
You're right.
You know,
we just have to like that process of like failure. We have to stop making it a messy process. Instead, looking at it like it's a process for us to learn and then move forward, you know, instead of being all these side comments or all these negative comments, you know. And I mean, I'm guilty of it. We're fast to do that, you know, like, oh, so shit, you know, like, oh, put in the next person, or, you know what I mean? Like, get this guy out, you know, or you know.
Or somebody going comment on top of the stuff, and you're like, man, oh, how's this guy? I remember him back in the day. Like that. He like talked about me. You know what I mean?
Scratch bad social media.
Yeah, no, for real. Yeah, you know.
That said, remember when is the smallest type of conversation or something like that. And I think that's why we revert, because we go back. Our brain subconsciously goes back to that memory, and then you're immediately another person. You know. So as soon as people start remember when, just get out of there.
True.
Well, I mean, so I was thinking like that self-confidence, yeah, and not caring about like you guys were saying, you know, if you're gonna do what you're gonna do, regardless of what that other person thinks or says, you know, then you're just doing you. And to get to that point, not that I'm near that point, you know, because even like before this, I was like throwing up and stuff, you know, I was all scared. Oh, what are people gonna think? You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's the first time, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. It's to be expected, I guess, you know? I've never done this before. And
apprentice.
Everyone is an apprentice, yeah. And then I think that's kind of why I wanted to throw that question out there in the beginning, you know, just the whole process of getting started.
Yeah.
Because at some point, you know, in the back of our heads, we heard the voices or we heard the comments, you know. And so for me and my story, that's what, you know, held me back for starting for so long. And so Alpha remembers. Yeah, Alpha and Jing were like OGs of this podcast because they were like the.
Hey, we gotten better too, huh? You think you gotten better from your first time? Yeah, way better. So you're gonna get better. Just we're glad that we could see you hatch a little bit.
And this is kind of cool that, you know, like just our circle here, you know, like Jing said that you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I saw BJ's video. I think it's one of your first video. I'll choke people sharing it on Facebook. But I was like, man, I'm going to hit him up to be on my live because I've been doing live too. And then I walk in, and I swear this was like a couple of days ago because I was showing one of my friends too. I walk in and you're the first person I see. I'm like, oh shit, is it him? What the hell? Oh, perfect.
So it's almost kind of like speaking it, you know what I mean? Like, you know, into existence. And you didn't know that he was going to come or he was going to be here.
Yeah, my friend's going to trip out because I told her that I was going to hit you up. Yeah, that's crazy. Universe is real, guys. Just keep putting it out there.
For real. That's crazy. Like to bring us all together, imagine we're all from different parts. Yeah. You know, Molokai, especially Molokai. You know what I mean? Molokai girl out here in Utah, come on.
And then him living in New Mexico now, you know? And then us two over here. I mean, all three of us are from here, but you know, just the paths that brought us tonight, you know, at this very moment. I feel like we are where we're meant to, you know, we're supposed to be here. This is where we're supposed to be, you know?
Right. Kind of like you were saying, you know, God has a plan for you, you know what I mean?
What is it, by divine or by design?
Design, yeah. Shout out to Lala Ellsworth.
Shout out to my dog Tupac.
Yeah. But man, and then also just, these two talking about concrete and talking about, I feel like they made that connection with that. I mean, all along from being back home,
Yeah.
But you know what's so funny? Because I grew up doing construction, yeah? But I was always scared to be like, because we ran a little crew, you know what I mean? But because I never know that much, I was always scared to go to the next step, to overcome that. And that's why I stopped, Otherwise, I would have had plenty of fun because back when me and Maville was running, so it was me, Maville, and David, and we used to have like our own little stucco company, you know what I mean?
Nice.
So we used to do stucco jobs.
This was all before our mission.
Yeah, before the
Came
mission.
home after
It was
college.
funny because we was all working together. It was good fun.
Nice.
But shoot, anytime the surf got big,
Half day.
you know what I mean? And that was the best. For real, man. So, and but then I love that part of it because when you're in your own boss, you can make decisions, yeah?
Yeah.
And my head wasn't like all into like the trying to be the best, I was surfing,
Yeah.
But I was doing something to make some money and whatever. But no, I was all right at it. I wasn't the best. But I know if someone would have been like, oh, okay, here, this is the next step. If you like do this, here's the next step. Oh, that would have been solid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
Yeah, those are good days, man. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Here we go. We put the kayak surfboards in the
So
truck.
kayak surfboards, let's go.
So the same truck that we put the mud or the stucco,
Yeah,
all
the
the
stucco,
equipment, we go
everything.
home, drop it off, and then load them again with surfboards and kayaks, and then head straight back out. And so that was fun.
But that's I think the unknown. In fact, the unknown is so hard sometimes. Like who wants to step out into the unknown? Like go and do something that you don't know how to do, or go do something that you've never achieved. But that's where it's at. If you never step out to the unknown, well, then you never go anywhere.
Yep. True.
And I feel like too, like with, I don't know, with this platform that I have, just giving voices to these people and who are successful in their own, whatever businesses or whatever things that they're doing. The voice that, I am, afforded the opportunity to, for them to share their story. There's others who are younger than us, or there's other people back home watching that be like, oh, I want to do that. I can do that because that guy's there, or you know what I mean? And I'm sure that when we were younger, there were other people older than us that were probably successful in whatever they were doing, but because they didn't maybe share their stories, or because we didn't know, for us, it wasn't, as accessible, or like it wasn't as relatable. The only relatable thing was being at NFL, or you know what I mean, playing football, and so.
Like only recently, I heard my dad's story. My dad, he started with concrete, then he got really good at concrete, and he moved all the way up, and they took care of him. But he said, "Oh, I like learning something else." So he got into stucco, then he learned that. Then he moved all the way up again. Then he wanted for being carpenter. He wanted for building a house. So then he got into that, got really good at that. Then he said he can open his own stuff. Yeah. So when I heard that, it made sense, because all I thought was my dad was just a G that he just somehow he knew everything. You know what I mean? Because that's
You didn't see the process.
I didn't see the process, and I didn't understand the process. Until recently, it was a process that he went through this and then to this and to this and got better and better and better. But he never stopped growing. He got to the best. He didn't just stop right there. He wanted to do something different, the unknown. You know what I mean? So then he learned that one, and then he learned the next one, and then, he started his own, And just seeing that whole process, then I was like, okay, well, I guess that's how you got to start. You just got to go do something that you want to do, and then go more, and then go more, and go more,
It's a combo. You gotta want to learn, and you gotta want to learn how to be comfortable when you're uncomfortable, and you put that two together, you're unstoppable, man. You know what I mean? Because if you're constantly learning and wanting to learn more, and then you constantly put yourself in a position where you're uncomfortable, you soon start to get comfortable in those positions, and then you're not scared anymore. You just want to keep going. And so those people, they're goals.
Yeah.
I want to be that.
Kind of like Michael Phelps, yeah. He used to train so hard. Yeah. He trained so hard. He put himself so uncomfortable spots that anybody else would say that's crazy. But to him, it was just another practice. You know what I mean? He was already in the mindset, well, it's just another practice for me. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like a bodybuilder. Oh, it's crazy that he's doing 450 pounds. Well, it's just practice for him. That's normal for him. Well, you tell anybody else, 400, you know what I mean? And that whole confidence thing, that's big time, I think.
Going back to what you said about like the kids and generations that are watching and stating that like, oh, I want to do that, I want to do that. It reminded me of a video that my nephews recorded on their mom's phone, and I guess they watch my video a lot, and one day them two was just like recording and was like, hey, it's gonna be a good day today, yeah, you guys, we're gonna do great things. And like she sent it to me, and in her comments she said they watch your video every day, they want to say nice things on camera all the time so people can listen. And I was like, this is why, like no matter that we're not making millions, no matter what, like we're changing the world. People are watching us, and most importantly kids are watching us, and I think that's huge. And so like, yeah, just that just made me think of that.
Yeah. And I guess for you, that's your aha moment, or that's the moment where you're like, it's all worth it. Yeah. I mean, I guess can you guys talk about those moments as well? Or those experiences where you're like, man, this was all worth it, even though people don't see like everything that you've done, or like she said, you're not making millions, but just that one experience or that one moment where like, man, that makes it all worth it for me. Do you guys want to? I know you kind of touched on that. Or
what was yours for Village Made? What,
well, I'm asking the questions. I was asking.
Wait a minute.
Whoa. Nah.
That's why Ellen and Oprah don't talk about themselves.
But no, I'll go ahead and share. I mean, I think for me, it kind of went in phases. So in the beginning, just for me, just starting, like just like throwing my name out there, or just like starting a podcast. I think when that moment came for me was getting those messages, be like, man, I kind of was thinking about this, or, thank you for putting yourself out there, or thank you for sharing these stories. And I think even until today, like, when I get those messages, it's just like, sheesh, you know what I mean? Like, and then for me, I don't know how to say it. Sorry if I'm rambling, but I kind of feel like I'm still learning how to process what's happening in my podcast. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what I don't know. I've never done this before, so how am I gonna, you know what I mean? Like, so with all this information that I'm getting every day, or with everything that's happening, I'm still trying to process a lot of this, Yeah, and so I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, I've never done this before, so just the more that I work, or the more that I continue to do this and to work on my craft, or work on this as a podcast, like, I continue to process daily, and so every day is like a learning curve. Every day is like, oh wow, like, maybe I could have done this different, or I could have done that. But I think at the end of the day, it's just those messages, I have a few messages from, even some of the people from back home that be like, I'm going to start a podcast, and so, or or they reach out, be like, oh, how do you do this with editing? Or how do you do this with the cameras, And so I have a few people that, reached out, and I was like, me? What? Why are you asking me? Like, and so for me, I still consider myself like a beginner, like I still consider myself like, I don't know what I'm doing. Why are you asking me? You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm thinking like, I'm already like 13, 14 weeks in, and people see that because of those 14 weeks, you know what I mean? It's 14 ahead of them. And so it's kind of like putting myself back and forth. I don't know if that made sense, but yeah.
No. Head on.
I'm still trying to figure it out as we go.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I'm trying to figure it out. And so at the end of the day, yeah, the best advice that I was given is, nobody should be thinking about your podcast more than you. And then, yeah. And then, no matter what you've done, the best is yet to come. So, yeah.
That's how it should be. You know what I mean? Too many people get into that false interpretation that school provides, that you got to get the degree, and the degree will tell you everything you need to know about the certain job that you're going to get into. But they don't know that there's a difference between, education and the workforce or the field.
The practical.
You gotta tie it into each other. So why not just get right into it and learn as you go? You know what I mean? And I think for me, I went in. I learned a few skills. I thought I was bomb. And so I went in.
No,
I went in
you
blind.
was.
You know what I mean?
It don't matter because let's go. You know what I mean?
So I was like, I can do this. Like, why not? So, but I'm grateful I did that because the next step was overwhelming. I had to learn city regulations, HOA codes. I had to, all these things that I didn't know.
You don't know what you don't know.
I was like, oh my gosh, like, can I really do this? But I already went in, so I wasn't gonna back down.
It wasn't turning back.
So I learned it as I went, and then I'm still learning, and I'll always learn.
Always.
Because there's always something new to learn. But I'm just grateful I started, because if I'd known that beforehand, all those things, I probably would have never started. Because like, man, that's a lot.
Would have been like, oh.
Yeah, like no, I need more experience. Yeah, I need more experience in this. But when I went in blind and I was all in, so I'm just happy that it went that way. I'm grateful for your podcast. Learn as you go, and you're only going to get better. Each and every one of us. So.
Yeah. Well, so the aha moment for me, I was trying to think about it. I was like, well, I don't really have an aha moment. I just like what I do, so I do. You know what I mean? And then I was thinking, well, why do I like it? You know? And it's so funny because the first time I saw this guy's podcast, I was like, psh, that stuff is fire, dog. And so I was like, man, I was already hitting him up. I was like, bro, this is like a good question right here. You know what I mean? And I was like putting my 2 cents, but then I was like, well, man, I'm not even doing that. You know what I mean? But I was like, I saw the value in it instantly because, man, you get to network with so many people, and you get to meet these awesome people that have done awesome things, and then you get to build that connection with them and get to know them like on a different level. Not just oh hi, oh, you know.
Or whatever's on social media.
Or whatever's on social media, whatever they post, you know what I mean? It's actually getting to know that person, you know? And like, bro, what's your name? You know, what does it mean? Where are you from? And then having them tell the actual story of how they came to America or where their family came from and how their dad guys got here and what they learned whenever they learned it. And then where they are now. And I was like, that's fire, you know? And so after that, I was like, I got to do something like that. That right there. And so that was my aha moment, I guess.
So you're doing podcasts too and stuff, interviews and stuff?
Not yet. Coming. Because it's so hard to just go into like something like this without having anything bringing in money. Because everybody got to live, you know what I mean? And it's taking away time. And even just that little Facebook stuff that I do, I mean, that stuff just still takes time because you're trying to reply and connect with everybody. So you're trying to reply to all their comments, you know? And
how many takes?
And then how long you back? You know what I mean? How many takes, bro? 4 or 5, like 10. It's too much data. I got to delete the other videos. You know what I mean? For real.
Oh, and it wasn't that good. You got to do it again.
No. I don't care about the hair. You know what I mean? But like, it's so funny because sometimes I just ramble on random stuff. And I'm like, oh, I wanted to tell them about like meditation or something. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, whatever, you know, let's go. Yeah. But yeah, that was my aha moment. And that's when I knew. I was like, because that's an amazing reason for help everybody, you know? Because, you know?
Conversation helps heal too. Yeah. Like we've seen Yanni, like we've seen so many people come in here like their shoulders just got like lighter, you know, like they were able to express, even though we don't include everything, you know, like it's a chance for them to just talk about themselves. Like how often do we get a chance to brag about ourselves and our stories? Yep. Like it's crazy.
Don't do that
every day.
Yeah. Bragging.
I don't know if you guys watched when Snoop Dogg got his star on Hollywood, and then the first person he thanked was himself, you know. I want to thank my goddamn self. I did this. And so I kind of, And so when I watched that, I was like, that's something that we need to do. You know, we need to applaud ourselves as we continue on this journey. Sure. Unfortunately, we don't know how to do that because we weren't taught that, you know. But because now we know better, we need to be better, you know.
Or imagine somebody going, oh man, I did a good job. Be like, bro, what? Man, everybody, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's the first thing they do. Wait, what? You did a good job. How's you talking about yourself? You know what I mean?
Well, I guess to end, like, the last question that I have for everyone. I mean, we can continue if you guys want, but I don't know. Going off of what you were talking about, like wanting to be your for your younger self, what you want, or something like that. What you're saying
to be the person you needed
Yeah.
when you're young.
when you were younger. So, what advice would you give your younger self with the knowledge and experience that you've lived, that you have now?
Ooh.
So I think just kind of like, just to tie all of this together is because, for us to be, for our younger selves, and for our younger selves could also be the people watching, or the younger people, younger generation, or people trying to, figure it out in life as well. What advice, So I don't know. That's kind of like, is that cool to end on, like
That's
a topic
I'll go first.
to bring it all together?
I think don't be scared. Don't be scared to try to fail. Like, you are gonna fail, just like he said, Alpha said, embrace it. It's coming, and that's how you learn and you grow.
I like that. Beautiful. I guess for me, the advice I would give, especially with starting this, in the back of my mind, I always had the thoughts of people, the comments, or the negative people. But honestly, I haven't had one negative comment yet. So you'd be surprised, just starting, how much confidence that gives other people, because they wanted to do what you're doing, or because you started, they'd be like, oh, I can do that too, And so their negative comments turn from like negativity, or like, even if it wasn't negative or just some kind of side comment, it'd be like, oh, thanks for starting, or, congrats, or like. And so I think that's just, for me, is like, that confidence it's never going to be as bad as you think. You know what I mean? Because honestly, I never got a bad comment from starting this, but in the back of my mind, I was like, I'm bracing for okay, I'm going to read it one of these days. You know what I mean? One episode, 2 episodes,
Sad,
and then
that we
10
know it's
episodes
coming.
in.
Like,
yeah.
and it's those comments that's not being posted too. It's being talked about. But
Talked about.
yeah.
And then, like, for some people that do start,
Junk our buckets. Yeah. We gotta find a new bucket.
Exactly.
The bucket just don't know yet. You know what I mean? They just don't know.
And so, yeah, I think that's kind of like, for me, is like, it's not going to be that bad, But.
Well, I guess for me, what would I tell my younger self? I say, bruh, guys, follow these guys, all right? Learn everything you can about these guys. And I set myself up with Tony Robbins, David Goggins, Gary Vee, Napoleon Hill. I said Carnegie. I set myself up with all these guys and said, bruh, learn everything you can about these guys. I almost said Heinz. Oh. Yeah, because learn everything about these Heinz. You know what I mean? Freaking know them solid. Those are great examples. And then go and do whatever you like to do. And whatever that is that you want to do, freaking go do them and be the best.
At the end of the day, yeah, be the best.
That's it. That's what I tell my younger self. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I look back, everything's led me up to this point. So I'm grateful. Right. But I think there could have been a faster process, But I'm grateful for the process. You know what I mean? But maybe like younger generations, we can help younger generations skip faster, that, go even faster, yeah? And so that way we all raise up even faster, Yeah.
True.
That's what I tell my younger self, though. My younger self wouldn't listen, though. You know what I mean? She's like, nah. It's because
gotta wait until now.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Younger self wouldn't even understand what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
I did Lewis's podcast, and you're like, oh, what would you tell your younger self? First of all, I'll slap my younger self. So shout out to Lewis for me too. I would slap my younger self. But yeah, off.
I'm just trying to think. What would I tell my younger self? I think I would say other people's opinions don't matter. Haters gonna hate. The people in your life that love you are all that really matters. And I think the biggest thing I would tell myself is embrace change. and just move forward. I think if we continue to adapt, move forward, and embrace change, we're gonna make it in this life.
Amen.
Mic drop.
Well, again, guys, thank you. I appreciate the time. Appreciate, everyone's experiences and everything that we've talked about. And I know I've, gained a lot of knowledge, gained a lot of, new things to experiment with in my life or in, with this podcasting. And so everybody, I'm sure because I felt it or because I've learned something, I'm sure everyone out there will as well, And so
I got a quick sales pitch.
go for it, brother.
So I got a sales pitch.
I'll try and pitch his business right here.
No. This ain't for my business.
Who's the best pitch?
This ain't for my business.
Oh, look!
No, my sales pitch is for the industry. I just want to let everybody back home,
Okay.
Pitch
to the people back home.
To the people back home. Because back home, we call it yate. You know what it is? Construction is just something that the guys that didn't make it in school do. You know what I mean? But this industry is thriving. It's thriving, and there's so many avenues, so many different trades that you can do in this industry and create your own. To be a general contractor, to be a business owner in the construction world is not that hard, and you can do it. And I look at everybody back home; they already have the knack for building. And you take a trade, a specific trade, or all the trades if you want to, and run with it in this industry. Build a team, build a business. You can kick off really well because the margins are huge. And if you have the specific skill to do the job, people are going to pay for that. It's a custom business. It's just like, Nike has the same shirts as everyone else, but because of the brand, they charge more. You know what I mean? So like, I just want to kind of change the view of construction back home. Construction is not something for the no-brainers.
Yeah.
It really isn't, because there's a lot of thinking in it.
There's a lot of thinking.
There's a lot of thinking.
And
I
working
do
on
more
your
math
feet.
and construction than I did at school.
For real.
But it really is something that you can do. So I just want to let everyone back home know, all you out there, yate workers out there, everybody making a living back home, doing construction. I appreciate you. You inspire me. Yeah, you're underappreciated. You work long hours. You go home, dirty neon shirts.
For real.
And, dirty jeans. No one understands, but I understand. And, I got nothing but love for you guys.
And job openings. Hit them up.
Yeah.
Boys and girls.
Yeah, boys and girls. You know what I mean? Because girls can do it too,
Women
man.
can thrive in this industry.
Yeah.
They can.
I feel like too, at some point, maybe even like 50 years ago, 100 years ago, people who work with their hands, were actually somebody who was like credible in society, If you were, if you made iron or if you made steel, or if you worked with, any like construction or any of those. But I feel like within the past few years, jobs have gone to desks. And so those were looked at now. Today, those are the go-to jobs, And so those jobs are forgotten, the ones that you work with your hands, such as construction. And so that's why I feel like maybe that shift, or underappreciation. But they're the ones that, keep us in our homes, keep our homes running, and keep everything, because you can go work at your office all you want, but when you come home, somebody got to build your house. So.
So another thing I'm offering for all you Utah residents, if you want to, master your craft, learn a skill, hit me up on IG. I'll bring you out to my job sites, or we can just do a little project on the side, get something going so I can show you how to do it, or try to show you how to do it. You might know more than me, so I'm willing to learn as well. But I want to put that out there. I'm gonna do some I don't know what you call it, projects, some jobs where people can learn. Some internships.
Oh, that's
Free workers.
Yeah, that's big. No. Hey, you're paid. No. This girl. Bro, that's mean, bro.
Paid. make payments and shit, guys. Come on.
No, hey, guys, take advantage of that.
You want me to market you or not? Let me market what I want to do. More profit, dude. They're learning. Do you know how much parents are willing to send their teenagers because they're not doing shit for summer? You just lost thousands of dollars by they cut that shit out. Right?
Hey, it ain't about the money. It's about the learning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hey, you guys, take advantage of this. Alpha
Okay, if
has
they
a lot of
white, we
knowledge.
charge you.
That's fire. I mean, your kid gets to learn a trade. You know what I mean? Whatever trade they want to try and learn. Imagine. Psh. They can be more confident in what it is that they do. They can work hard.
Okay, we're gonna learn something. I want to learn like how to put cement on the wall.
Cement on the wall.
He says, stuck.
I want to learn.
I want to learn that too.
I want to learn how to put cement on the wall too. So we can do that. We can do that together.
See what I mean? Like,
Application. Pass.
We call it stucco, plastic.
Yeah.
everything is legal because I bring in cameras. I need to record this.
Well, that'd be solid too.
No, I'm serious. If you guys want to learn, we can learn together.
There you go. So where can they find you at?
You can find me on IG, avbuild.com.
AVBuild Utah on Instagram.
You can just hit up Mavel. He'll give you my number. This ain't professional at all. I'm just a normal guy.
He's going to be. He's going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm working on his business cards.
Heck yeah. No, just hit me up on IG or hit up Mavel. He knows my number.
Yeah. Cool. Any last comments before we take off?
Well, thank you. Thank you, bro. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
That was
Thank
awesome.
you guys. That was awesome.
Okay, guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Village Made podcast. From my village to yours, shoots.
Till the next episode.